Hello everybody, let me talk to you about food. Usually when you hear about food, we're talking about something that makes us feel good when it gets down to our stomachs. Well, it's very important that we redefine what food is, redefine what nutrition is, because everything is changing when it comes to the maintenance of your body. Have you heard things like blood pressure, circulation, energy, or the maintenance of systemic and superficial homeostasis? All this means is that when we eat, we should eat the foods that harmonizes with that time of our 24-hour cycle. Not just eat anything because we're hungry. See, when we eat anything because we're hungry, we're actually being impulsive, reactive. Reaction simply means to do without thought. And when we do things without thought, we do eventually face something that we could have avoided in the long run. Now, speaking of the long run, the reason that people continue to eat over all of these years the same things that will undoubtedly get you sick because of all the observation, all of the different tests, all the different studies show the same thing, that we are still leaders in the world when it comes to heart disease, diabetes, cancer, atherosclerosis, and the list goes on. What is very important is that we choose the foods that harmonize with that period of the day, because our heart and brain function, our circulatory system, all of our systemic wiring comes down to really eating what is complementary for that moment. Let's look at breakfast. Breakfast is usually a meal that we eat in the morning, usually known for cereal, pastries, bacon, eggs. Some people got it better than that. They may have steak and eggs, or whatever the situation may be. Those particular foods are not necessarily specifically chosen for the morning. Those are meals that have been standardized by the people with the deep pockets, and we call them farmers. Today we probably call them factory owners, because we've changed so much. There's no more the little cozy little farm where you have the little chicken and it lays the eggs and then you go and take them to the kitchen, and all of those things are pictures that are painted in our heads about the ways that food is raised for us to eat, but there is much more that we don't know. So listen up. When it comes to choosing your food, it's very important to choose your food, your meal protocols, according to your circadian rhythm. It's very important to choose the foods that complement the hours that you're in. And here are some of the hours that you should be concerned with: the first hour, the third hour, fifth hour, seventh hour, 10th hour, and the 12th hour. These are hours of the day that our body is busy. It stays busy, but these are the best times of the day to eat our meals. Our largest meal should be eaten in the middle of the day instead of the end of the day. That's something that is very old, very old. We shouldn't be doing it. Why? Because who needs all of those calories going to bed? Calories are simple units of energy. And when we go to bed with that, who needs all of that energy? What are you doing in the bed that's going to use up 2,000 calories? Some people have one meal that's over 1,200 calories. That is the total amount of food that some people eat in a whole day. Be aware of those things as you are choosing which ways to eat. Now, let me tell you something. If you're doing something that you feel good and that is working, and you feel good about it, and you've shared it with other people, you may be sharing something that is only good for you. And you, by telling other people, it may make them feel a little comfortable to see if it works for them too. But our bodies have what is called a biochemical individuality. So what works for you may not work for another person. But there are some very simple things to remember. That in the morning, or your first hour, doesn't have to be in the morning, it can be in the afternoon, or it can be in the evening. But that first hour that you wake, you should have the food that is going to stimulate and regulate bowel function. So if you're not using the bathroom in the morning, when are you using it? And some people, it takes them a longer time, maybe 2 or 3 times a week that they use the bathroom, and not really a good evacuation of the waste. All people don't eat the same, right? So we know that. When you say that you eat good and you have another person say, I eat healthy, they may not mean the same things, because good usually means that I ate what I wanted to eat and I filled myself up with it. It doesn't mean that you're doing something that is healthy. And why does most of our leaders in health, they're not the people that people want to follow after? Usually they get the information, but they apply it to themselves and they neglect the way that the person looks. If a person is teaching you something about eating, they should resemble what they're teaching about. If they don't look like what they're talking about, they may not be about what they're talking about. Yeah, that works. So these are some of the things that we have to keep in mind as we continue to choose the diets or the meal protocols that are very helpful for us in the long run. They're very thoughtful of what else the human body is doing. Understanding our brain function and our heart function changes throughout the 24-hour cycle. These are just some of the things that you need to keep in mind. But what I would like for you to discontinue is doing the things that have been standardized by people that do not care about you whatsoever. In other words, their only importance as far as you are concerned is that you become an annual or a lifetime customer. They want your money, you see, and they want your loyalty. And a lot of us have product loyalty. Product doesn't give us anything back, but we have product loyalty. No, I don't buy anything but C&C soup, or I don't buy anything but Johnny's macaroni. Whatever that is, make sure that it's something that is adding nutrients to your family, to your body, to your meals, instead of just eating in a reactionary way. The popularity of food has been something that we only need to know its name or remember its jingle. But people are putting, or corporations put millions and millions of dollars so that you will become programmed to their particular brands. And when you are programmed to their particular brands, what you do is automatic. It is built or designed to keep you in the impulsive state of mind. If you can hear the jingle, or you see a certain color, or you see those arches, or you see whatever you see that reminds you of what you've seen, you are or have become a program, or at least potentially programmed to buy that certain brand. And that's why you have children that scream when they pass a McDonald's and you don't stop and park and get some fries or whatever else that has been advertised. It's a very, very diabolical system. Now, with that, as ominous as it may seem, it is information that can help you and your family make better decisions. I'll talk more about what you should be choosing during those times, what you should be eating, how long it takes to digest, and all of that in a later series. But right now, what's important is that you know if you're eating the standardized American diet, most likely you are supporting the same foods that support the major diseases that we contract. I'm Dr. Farid Zarif, and this has been a moment with Executive Life Diet.